Today I'm going to be discussing the effectiveness of several different toothpaste brands on inhibiting bacterial growth of the mouth. The mouth may be dirtier than what people originally thought. It has numerous amounts of bacteria in it. I don't know about you guys, but when we did our lab experiment and swabbed our mouths with the blood agar plates, I know that I was definitely surprised when I saw how much bacteria was in my mouth. We get bacteria from food we eat and many other sources. There are approximately 500 different types of bacteria in the mouth, especially inhibiting the teeth and the gums. Toothpastes are designed to help inhibit this bacterial growth of the mouth, along with bad breath. The first toothpaste was invented in the 1800s. However, it was different than the toothpaste we utilize now. In this experiment, Colgate, Tom's, Crest, Total, and Arm & Hammer are tested to see which is the most effective against bacteria. And here's just a picture of all the different types of the toothpaste. In our upper right-hand corner, we have Colgate. In our upper left-hand corner, we have Tom's. Sensitive Arm & Hammer is on the bottom right-hand corner, and to the left bottom corner, we have Crest. Total is not pictured because I could not find a picture of that. The objective of this experiment was to determine which toothpaste best inhibits bacterial growth in the mouth. If Tom's, Colgate, Arm & Hammer, Total, and Crest are tested to determine which one best inhibits bacterial growth, then Tom's will work the best because it is the only organic toothpaste utilized in this experiment. For my methods, we begin with using a sterile mouth swab. The contents of the mouth were swabbed for 30 seconds and transferred to a nutrient broth. This was repeated 6 times. After 5 minutes, the swab was removed. One toothbrush was placed into nutrient broth and removed after 5 minutes. Each toothbrush was labeled based on different toothpastes. Using each assigned toothbrush, a half a gram of toothpaste was applied. The toothpaste soaks for 2 minutes. Using a sterile swab through the toothbrush bristles, the contents were transferred to each assigned blood agar plate. Tom's, Colgate, Total, Arm & Hammer, and Crest were tested to determine which best inhibited bacterial growth in the mouth. For the experiment, we did a control group, and our control group grew 25 colonies of bacteria. Total, along with Crest, both grew 0 colonies of bacteria. Tom's grew 2.5 colonies of bacteria. Colgate grew 5 colonies, and Arm & Hammer grew 5 colonies. For my experiment, I had to work separately from my group, so I tested Tom's, and Tom's grew 2 colonies, and my group mates grew 5 colonies, so I took the average of that. And here's just a graph of my results. As you can see, again, the control had 25 colonies, which, what I talked about in the beginning, describes how when we swabbed our mouths and we saw multiple colonies of bacteria on the blood agar plate. Total and Crest both had 0. Arm & Hammer and Colgate both had 5. And then for the average of Tom's, they had 2.5 colonies. These results, however, do not support my hypothesis that Tom's will be the most effective against oral bacterial growth. While Tom's inhibited some growth, 2.5 colonies still grew. This suggests that even though Tom's is an organic toothpaste, that does not correlate with the effectiveness it has on inhibiting growth. No, it's not. Well, no.
You can pause. I mean, it's fine. You can pause it.
These results suggest that Crest and Total are the most effective at inhibiting oral bacterial growth because 0 colonies were formed from each. These results also suggest that while Tom's still grew 2.5 colonies, Arm & Hammer, along with Colgate, each grew 5, so they are the least effective. In Simone Harrison's experiment, his results supported mine in that Crest was the best at inhibiting bacterial growth. However, he did not use the same toothpaste brands that I did in comparing them. In Hayes' experiment, his results also supported that Crest was better than Colgate at inhibiting growth. However, he also did not use the same brands as I did. For an alternative hypothesis, I would make an educated guess that Crest in total would be the most effective against oral bacterial growth. If I were to further this experiment, I would test the effectiveness of these on multiple subjects with the same methods. I also might add an additional experiment of testing mouthwash on the effectiveness on bacterial growth of the mouth, and determining if that's mainly used for just bad breath or if it's used for inhibiting bacterial growth as well. To further test whether a toothpaste being organic has an effect in fighting bacteria, I could add other brands of organic toothpaste to a different experiment in the future. Overall, different people have different amounts of bacteria in their mouth, so this could have affected my experiment. There was also not multiple subjects for my experiment or multiple tests. If I were to redo this experiment, I would get more subjects and compare the results among them. There are hundreds of bacteria in our mouths. Some of these different types of bacteria can make us sick. To help fight against that bacteria, we brush our teeth just like we wash our hands. We must know which brand is the most effective. For my experiment, Crest in total were the most effective. And then here's a picture of my literature cited.